Hey, and welcome to this little screencast. I'm Lucas here, and I want to make a screencast for this story. I've chosen the Fever Pitch, the whole package by Nick Hornby. The story is about a very passionate football fan. His favorite team is Arsenal FC, which is one of the best football teams in the Premier League and one of the best in the whole world at the time the story is wrote. The story starts on a match day where Arsenal is playing against Coventry, which is one of the smaller clubs in England at this time. But they have worked hard and achieved a lot of achievements for the club in Premier League and in the smaller leagues in England. Before the match was started, everyone had expected a loss for Coventry because Arsenal was so much better than Coventry at the time they played each other. After Coventry scored the first goal, we hear the main character says that the Coventry fan was singing and shouting very loud in the stadium, and we hear about some chances from Arsenal, but nothing more than chances. They couldn't score this day. And I have chosen a quote. The Arsenal fans responded, the Coventry fans after that goal. And the quote says, "You are going to get your fucking heads kicked in when Coventry scores against them." I've chosen this very quote because it says a lot about the English fan culture, that it's not only about the ball and the players on the pitch, but the football fans also fight outside the pitch about who is the best and most passionate fans or hooligans. But when they're fighting outside the pitch, where they are screaming and shouting to each other, it often ends up in a violent fight, like we saw in the movie Green Street Hooligans with the West Ham fans who is running around the street just to make violence. Yes, and the main character is not a fan of the fights after the matches, where all the hardcore fans wants to hurt each other because they didn't got the result as they wanted on the pitch, and that's why it continued outside the pitch, so they maybe have a little win to take home. The hardcore fans do not respect people who just came to watch the football game, and nothing more than that. It has happened that an ordinary suddenly ends up in a violent fight where some of the innocent people is getting involved in one of the big football fights because the fans just want the fight to happen as soon as possible after the match. The main character talk a lot of how the character fan for football and for other sports. And he says there's a difference between a rugby fan and a football fan. Here he has an example where he said, "You like football, then you also like soul music, beer, trumping people, grabbing ladies, breast, and money. You are a rugby fan or cricket man. You like Dear Saints, Dear Straits, or Mozart, wine, punching ladies' bottoms, and money. Yeah. He says that there's a lot different between the two fan groups, and by example, is there a lot of different between Mozart and drinking wine, while football is prefer soul music and drinking beer. It sounds more that it's funny, this quote, because when we think about rugby, we think a lot about its brutal humans, because it's a very brutal sport, because they are jumping each other without any equipment. And in football, we are thinking it's just we have equipment to protect ourselves for getting hurt, and they don't have anything in rugby. But it's funny that the rugby fans like Mozart and drinking wine instead of drinking beer like the football fans. Yes. But in my opinion, this is a sort of wrong that the football fans is so much characteristic, because when I look at my friends, I play a lot of football in my spare time, and myself, we have a very different taste of music, where I can see I like a lot new pop music, and I like some of the old pop music, but many of my friends like rap music, where the artists used a lot of swear words and slangs, words to express the meanings, but I more like where they sing clean without swear words, and just for the music, not so much for the feeling they need to communicate out to their fans. And it's very important for the text that it's wrote from it's written in the narrator's point of view, because we hear his meaning about the fan culture, which is very good when this game is on, but very bad after the match. Narrator do not like the hardcore fans after the match, because they are very brutal in the way they treat everyone, both the other fans, but also the innocent people around the stadium who just want to go home for their family and kids. And my point of view is very similar to the narrators, because I don't like the fights after the game, and I also like the screaming and shouting for the fans in the stadium, so we have some feeling that we are going into the match and not just sitting home in the couch and watching the football in the TV. And here in Denmark, we also have some football fights, but I don't think it's much as big as in England, where we hear a lot of terrible stories where people have fighting each other sometimes to death. It's not so big, it's not so often it happens, but sometimes we hear some stories. But sometimes when the big teams here in Denmark like Brøndby and FCK play each other, it can end with a big fight where we have here a lot of people being involved. Yes, and that was all I wanted to say about this little story. Fever pitch, the whole package. Yes, I hope you will enjoy it. I hope you had enjoyed. Hey.